Woke up to some crazy news. Bloody Sunday just hours away. And the nightmare massacre continues. Gazans given hours to flee south before troops roll in and their window of opportunity is closing fast. I got a lot that I want to share with you guys here today, and let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And this warning for Americans about the damage that Bloody Sunday leaves in its wake. Have you guys heard about this one already, or is it just me that stumbled across this nightmare scenario where it says that if sky-high house prices and mortgage rates have made you hit pause on your home buying plans, you may want to think again. And this is according to personal finance personality Dave Ramsey. The average 30-year fixed mortgage rate increased to 7.49% last week, up from the prior week's average of 7.31% and hitting the highest level since 2000. At the same time, house prices continue to rise, primarily due to low inventory. Now, I don't want to make this an entire video about Dave Ramsey. I think I got a better seating position and angle here to limit the glare. What do you guys think? But I do want to talk about this Bloody Sunday situation, this scenario, as well as hopefully the audio is coming through clear. I'm recording simultaneously. I'm going to pick and choose which one's better when it's done through post. And hopefully we don't have that wind noise sound from the fan over my head in my new studio here, which I don't know. Maybe this will be my new studio. I don't know. But it says, become debt free. Ramsey was joined on Fox and Friends by The Ramsey Show co-host George Kamel, who backed Ramsey's bold housing call and mirrored his advice around becoming debt-free. And it says here that if you're a millennial or you're Gen Z, you're feeling hopeless right now, you're feeling cynical, says Kamel. Your parents are saying you're throwing away money on rent, get a house, and you're broke. You've got to have some patience because rent and mortgages are not apples to apples. So, again, I don't want to make this all about Dave Ramsey, but it mentions building an emergency fund. And Ramsey believes every adult American should have at least $1,000 set aside to cover life's inevitable challenges. For instance, if you're suddenly slapped with a big medical bill or your car breaks down, that backup fund will stop you from falling into financial distress. Beyond that, Ramsey says you should have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses, including your rent or mortgage, other loan repayments, grocery and energy bills, and other regular expenditures. Have this to cover larger surprises like a job layoff or a long hospital stay. And the long hospital stay could potentially be becoming more and more of a reality here as time progresses, but I'm not going to deep dive into that one. But I do want to talk about Bloody Sunday. It says here that house prices aren't going to go anywhere but up, even with interest rates going up. More importantly, the housing market is just stalled. And man, this is the quote. He says, "We've got Bloody Sunday coming with the student loans kicking back in Sunday, and Christmas is bearing down on us, so it's time to get on a budget and get on a plan." And with that in mind, Ramsey says you shouldn't sit back and wait for conditions to improve, reminding potential buyers that you can always refinance your home loan to get a better rate down the road. So essentially, marry the house or date the rate, marry the house, date the rate is what he's saying. Rather, he says you should go ahead and buy a home, but only if you're out of debt and you've got your emergency fund. Now, I don't know if I necessarily agree with buying a house and not getting the rate that you would prefer, hoping that down the road the rates become better. Because in essence, you could look at it and say, well, if I'm banking on the future being better than the present, then interest rates will come down. Well, why couldn't you apply the same principle and logic to home prices coming down, even if interest rates stayed the same? So I got to disagree with Dave Ramsey on that one entirely. But he tends to give a broad blanket message statement for the principles and philosophies around financial literacy and money management versus really getting to the nitty gritty, much like his strong disdain for credit cards and debt. But We can talk about that in another video. Up next, CNN announces that Israel has 6-hour window remaining to evacuate and get out of harm's way, potentially find a safer place as Gazans flee south. Troops gather near the border. Israel's military has announced a 6-hour window for Palestinians to flee south along specified streets within Gaza as tens of thousands leave their homes following a stark evacuation order ahead of a possible Israeli ground assault. The Israeli Defense Forces, IDF, warned more than 1 million residents in northern Gaza to evacuate on Friday as it massed troops and military equipment at the border and continued bombarding the territory with relentless airstrikes in response to the deadly October 7 attacks by Islamists' militant group Hamas. Even before the warning, more than 400,000 Palestinians had already been internally displaced by the past week of fighting as conditions worsened inside the bombarded strip. But the evacuation order and the prospect of a potential incursion have been sharply criticized by rights groups, including the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, the OCHA, and the head of that, who warned that such a move could bring catastrophic humanitarian consequences. This is truly devastating, folks. This is unreal, unbelievable, and most importantly, the impacts that it's going to have here for U.S. citizens, folks living in America, in this country. And there's actually a video that I want you guys to check out. Squirrel Tribe put it up the other day, and it's telling. Now, I would say check out Patrick Bet David, check out Valuetainment, watch his videos on the Hamas war, this war in Israel, then come on over and double back and check out what Squirrel Tribe has to say. Pretty eye-opening stuff, folks. NPR says that the U.S. students, again, like I said, the impacts and effects that it would have on us here, U.S. students are clashing over the Israel-Hamas war. And you guys have probably heard about this already to some degree. I need to figure out this sweet spot to get this camera to focus. But it's some wild stuff. And it says that the violence in Israel and Gaza has heightened tensions on college campuses across the U.S. as students, staff, and administrators grapple with how to respond. Pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian student groups are weighing in online and in person, with many of their statements and protests provoking strong reactions from the other side. Take the controversy at Harvard, where dozens of students groups signed onto a letter from the Harvard Palestine Solidarity Committee, PSC, on October 7, the day Hamas launched its surprise attack on Israel, holding Israel entirely responsible for all unfolding violence. The letter garnered widespread backlash from students, faculty, high-profile alumni, politicians, and even Harvard's president. Several groups have since retracted their support of the letter, though some of their members have been doxxed. And so if you don't know what doxing is essentially where people try to dig up as much personal information about you as possible and spread it on the internet so that others could be made aware of who you are, where you live, your family members, and more than likely try to do some sort of physical, mental, emotional, or financial, or all of the above harm to those people. This is the world we live in today. This is the internet age. This is the digital age and technology and AI that has made this so easy to do. In New York, the president of NYU's Student Bar Association wrote that Israel bears full responsibility for this tremendous loss of life, end quote. In a letter to the group that quickly went viral and drew widespread condemnation, the student has since lost their law firm job offer and is in the process of being removed from their leadership role. Student groups have also held vigils and protests, which in some cases have led to direct confrontations between pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian groups. Protesters clashed at schools, including the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and Indiana University in the recent days. Columbia University closed its campus to the public on Thursday due to safety concerns over 2 planned student protests a day after an Israeli student was allegedly assaulted with a stick outside its library. Man. If it ain't one thing, it's another, folks. Now, I'm not making light of the situation, but I am cycling through the news here that is being presented to me on a daily basis. And I want to keep you guys informed and updated of the latest of what's going on and what's happening. And it says that the CBS News Miami Black history teacher takes Florida education standards complaints to the UN, United Nations. And a Miami-Dade teacher packed her bags to haul complaints about Florida education standards overseas to the United Nations. Renee O'Connor, nominated for Miami-Dade Public Schools Teacher of the Year in 2022, is on sabbatical. She taught African American history elective and AP courses for 12 years. That changed this summer when she saw new guidelines for colleagues in middle schools to begin teaching students how slaves developed skills in which some instances could be applied for their personal benefit, end quote. O'Connor said, "It was the moment that was really the nail in the coffin for me. I think when you're in the classroom and you have to worry about what your principal is going to say, what the district is going to feel about a teacher standing up for herself, for her class, for her students, and for this really important class, since I am not in the classroom, I have opportunity to do things such as go to Geneva," end quote. So there's a lot going on and unfolding here, unraveling here with this Florida education standards for Black history and AP studies, as well as just the other day I saw the governor of Florida, Ron DeSantis, and he was talking about the emergency, or the state of that emergency for Florida, that he is actually working on to send planes to Israel to help with evacuations. And I think he said Florida had maybe the second highest Israeli population in the country of all states. Meanwhile, Fortune is telling me that we're in economic trouble, which I didn't really need Fortune to do that, but Fortune is sharing this information here with the CEO here of Best Buy. And I've talked to you about Best Buy a little bit before, but it says that Best Buy's CEO, Corey Berry, says we're in the funflation economy with $1,000 Taylor Swift tickets, and it's why sales are worse than expected. The YOLO economy gave way to a summer of revenge spending and now finally to funflation. Forget inflation. Best Buy CEO says we're living in a funflation economy and it's hurting her business. Funflation, Taylor Swift, those experiences are really where people are willing to pay. Corey Berry said, and she is the CEO of Best Buy, adding that this means the bigger ticket items in electronics are not right now where people are interested. Best Buy sales boomed during the pandemic as workers invested in electronics for their remote work setups and entertainment. Now business has slowed down as consumers spend on increasingly expensive necessities like food and fuel, or on luxuries denied during lockdown like concerts and vacations. As a result, Barry says Best Buy's televisions and PCs are being pushed to the back burner, and this was evident as electronics sales cooled more than expected during the second quarter earnings. Other sectors, including appliances, pet supplies, and home improvement, are also being hit by the recent consumer trend. What is funflation, you asked? Well, the term is a mashup of the words fun and inflation to state the obvious, but it speaks to the curious spending habits that have been befuddling economists for years now. In short, higher demand for fun experiences drives higher prices for fun experiences. After years of being locked down, American consumers have been eager to get out of the house and splurge on items like Taylor Swift concert tickets, Barbie in theaters, and airline tickets. For instance, Swifties spared no expense for the Eras Tour, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on tickets and costumes. This has also been called a YOLO economy, in which consumers use the mantra, "You only live once," to justify their purchases. The term revenge spending has come into use as well, with Delta CEO Ed Bastian referring to the fun-seeking phenomenon as revenge travel. and saying it's a $300 billion market opportunity. So interestingly enough, I think, and they say something's got to give, and I get it. I understand they're making a claim for their business so that they can try to get back on track with sales. But we got to understand the seasonality of business. And sometimes the seasonality of businesses and consumers and spending habits and trends aren't necessarily, in line with the season, like the physical seasons that we feel, the temperature and environmental changes outside in the world. And I got to say, as I'm sitting here, I'm counting at least 3 flat screen TVs in here that we don't even use anymore. Remembering back when a flat screen TV was going to cost several thousands of dollars, and now you can get a really high quality 50, 55, maybe even a 60-inch flat screen LED. I'm talking about back in the day when we had DLP TVs with the big old bulb in the back. It was a flat screen, but it wasn't a thin wall-mounted TV. And then we moved on to plasma, and then we moved on to LCD, and then we moved on to LED. And then we moved on to OLED, OLED. And the simple fact of the matter is that the technology has advanced so rapidly. Competition was so fierce. Prices got slashed so much. I don't think people need TVs anymore because they already have them. They have so many of them, and they're so relatively inexpensive for smart TVs and Roku TVs. Like, it's just unnecessary. Let alone, people are probably watching more content on their mobile devices, on their smartphones, and on their tablets and laptops and computers than they are on TV, more than likely. Let alone having the time to be able to sit down and watch something, because people are working more and commuting more than ever. That's just my thought. It's just my opinion. However, when you think about it, yeah, we had a long period of time where we were deprived of, some of life's greatest opportunities, being entertainment, concerts, being open out in public with people, and traveling for sure. And now that traveling has become a little bit easier to do with the restrictions and mandates pretty much being eliminated, but the prices and costs driving up sky high, yeah, I can see why people are taking advantage of this time and this opportunity to spend the money that they have on experiences that they may never ever get again, that they have been shown and proven that can be taken away from them. Much like flat screen TVs and computers, laptops, and video cards, and all sorts of tech necessities that went like toilet paper. They were just flying off the shelves. And then we got into this whole supply chain crunch, supply chain demand, supply and demand issue, but that was replenished. What can't be replenished is Taylor Swift and her willingness to do a concert tour, or Beyonce, or Drake, or 21 Savage, or Ed Sheeran, or Adele, or whoever it may be. This makes perfect sense to me. And perhaps maybe Best Buy should be looking at incorporating some of these experiences into their business to try to, stimulate sales in another way, versus just pointing the finger and saying, oh, it's the YOLO economy, it's funflation. Woe is me, but you better find a way to get people to come in that store and buy your products. Otherwise, you are going to be going out of business. Now, I do want to share some information with you from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD. And HUD announces a $212 million funding opportunity to expand affordable housing options for persons with disabilities. So this is, I think, right on time. Definitely needed, much needed for sure. If you guys want more information about that, let me know. I will be sure to bring it to you, as well as one that really excites me and interests me, which is how to make money with AI, okay? Because, it's not just Best Buy's CEO. It's not just, all these other major big businesses and corporations trying to figure out how to make that money. We are too, okay? Millennials, Gen Zs, potential home buyers, everybody right now, without a shadow of a doubt, can't argue the fact that we need to make more money, plain and simple. And they ask, is artificial intelligence, AI, a threat to our opportunity or to create more wealth? Let me do this again. Is artificial intelligence, AI, a threat or an opportunity to create more wealth? And this is from the Motley Fool. Now, it says that artificial intelligence, AI, is such a hot topic these days that many people are wondering how to make money from AI. The public launch of the uber popular ChatGPT and the growing investment by businesses to harness AI technology are creating a media frenzy, while many worry that AI might eventually take their jobs, and others want to harness its power to make money. I have no job. Well, I guess I do have a job that could be taken, but I'd like to see AI do what I do. I'm pretty much a one of zero, folks, and you need to think the same way. Put yourself in a position to be one of zero. So, and if you know who initially said one of zero, drop it in the comment section down below. I'd be delighted to know that we watch and we listen and pay attention to some of the same very, very smart and inspirational and successful people out there in the world. But it says that there's 7 ways, and they have a list. There's more than 7. 7 ways to make money with AI. Number 1 is generate written AI content. Number 2 is create AI generated art. Number 3 is create YouTube videos. Number 4, make AI generated digital visual products. Number 5, build websites. Number 6, generate audio AI content. And number 7, create online courses. Now, the interesting thing about AI is you can make money by using AI, and you can also make money by teaching AI. And that's something that I'm actually working on, that if you guys are interested in learning more about, I will share with you. And we can go down that rabbit hole a little bit further, a little bit deeper. In the meantime, in between time, I appreciate you guys watching, listening, and let me know what you think about my new setup here. Should we do it again or do something different? Should we continue our talks and discussions and conversations about the world, global conflicts, the economy, making money, saving and investing, and so much more? Oh, of course, YouTube content creation, online side hustles, and passive income here, or should we take this show on the road? Let me know. Until next time, you guys take care. See ya.